Some people win millions. Some become famous. Some gain power beyond measure. But every person in this countdown had one thing in common. They destroyed themselves while the world watched. 10 cases of psychological collapse, each darker than the last. From sudden wealth that became a prison, to systems built to profit from human ruin. It starts with a 19-year-old who won nearly 10 million pounds. In the 10th place, Michael Carroll stands as proof that sudden fortune can become a curse. At 19, he won 9.7 million pounds in the United Kingdom National Lottery. Overnight, a teenager with no financial guidance found himself drowning in cash and attention. The media named him the Lotto Lout. Every morning began with cocaine. Nights blurred into parties, violence, and chaos. Within 2 years, the headlines shifted to drug charges, affray sentences, and a 9-month jail term. The money vanished as quickly as it arrived. Today, Carroll works 7 days a week delivering firewood for £10 an hour. How do millions become chains? The answer lies in the wreckage left behind. Number 9. Desmond Etika Amofa lived his life in public, streaming, shouting, breaking down, all for the crowd. Over 1.3 million subscribers watched as his joy turned into a slow-motion unraveling. In April 2019, the world tuned in as Etika live-streamed his own police detention. 19,000 viewers witnessed a man in crisis, pleading, spiraling, then falling silent. The pressure of algorithmic fame, constant engagement, endless performance, became a trap with no exit. By June, he vanished into the city. His last video, a raw confession, spread like wildfire. On June 25th, police found his body in the East River. Millions cheered, but in the end, who tried to pull him back? The answer hangs in the silence that followed. 8th place, Nikocado Avocado turned his own body into a battleground for the internet's attention. What began as lighthearted mukbangs soon spiraled into a disturbing spectacle. Mountains of fast food, violent outbursts, and hospital wristbands worn like trophies. By 2020, his subscriber count soared past 3 million. Each meltdown, each collapse, was rewarded with millions of clicks and a spike in ad dollars. The more he suffered, the more the algorithm paid out. Weight shot up, then crashed down, only to rise again. Emergency rooms replaced sponsorships. Fans debated what was real and what was staged. The medical records did not lie. Gastric ruptures, electrolyte imbalances, emergency room visits on camera. When your collapse is currency, what stops you? The answer is still unfolding, one binge at a time. Number 7. Sam Bankman-Fried built an empire on the promise of trust. FTX launched in 2019, exploding to a $32 billion valuation in just 3 years. The world saw a boy genius, messy hair, cargo shorts, and an endless stream of interviews about saving humanity with crypto. But behind the screens, customer money vanished into a labyrinth of secret loans, political donations, and reckless bets. In November 2022, a single leak exposed an $8 billion black hole. Panic swept the markets, and FTX collapsed overnight. Bankman-Fried was arrested in the Bahamas a month later, accused of masterminding one of the largest financial frauds in history. Court filings read like a blueprint for unchecked ego. No oversight, no limits. Just a belief that brilliance excuses anything. Investors, friends, and entire industries were left in ruin. One man's delusion rippling out to millions. What happens when a single mind, convinced of its own genius, is handed the keys to the world's money? The answer is still echoing through shattered lives and empty accounts. Number 6. The Stanford Prison Experiment began in August 1971 as a study of power. 24 college students, assigned to be guards or prisoners, stepped into a basement and left their identities at the door. Within hours, the guards invented punishments: push-ups, humiliation, sleepless nights. By day 2, the cruelty escalated. Prisoners broke down, sobbing and begging for release. Guards, masked behind sunglasses and uniforms, lost themselves in the role. Sadism turned casual. Zimbardo, the psychologist in charge, watched as the line between simulation and reality vanished. On day 6, the experiment was shut down. It was cut short by a whistleblower who was horrified by what she saw. The aftermath was a reckoning. Participants reported trauma that lingered for years. The fallout forced the creation of strict ethical codes for human research. The footage remains, a dark mirror showing how easily ordinary people become monsters when given unchecked power. If a role can erase your conscience in less than a week, what happens when the world is your stage? The answer waits in the next unraveling mind. Number 5. Amanda Bynes was never allowed to be a child. Her face was everywhere. Nickelodeon's breakout star, the perfect daughter, the next Hollywood promise. From 1999 to 2007, she played every role except her own. Studio contracts, red carpets, paparazzi on every sidewalk. Each flash erased another piece of herself. By her early 20s, something fractured. The headlines shifted. DUI charges, vandalism, erratic tweets, wigs and sunglasses pulled low to hide from the world. In 2013, a court declared her mentally incompetent and placed her under conservatorship. The diagnosis was bipolar disorder, impulse control gone. Paparazzi hounded her every move, turning breakdown into a front-page spectacle. Developmental psychologists call it identity foreclosure. The self never formed. It was just borrowed from scripts and studio lights. Her story bleeds into the next. A mind pushed to the edge, sleep lost, reality blurred. When the cameras never turn off, where does the real person go? Number 4. The body itself becomes the final frontier. In 1964, 17-year-old Randy Gardner stayed awake for 264 hours, 11 days, while scientists watched his mind unravel. By the 4th day, he saw road signs morph into people. By the 6th day, paranoia set in. He believed he was a famous athlete, then accused doctors of lying. The hallucinations were stranger. Dead relatives, phantom voices, colors bleeding across the walls. His speech slurred. Microsleep stole seconds at a time, gaps he couldn't recall. Military studies repeat the same pattern. After 72 hours without sleep, even the strongest minds fracture. Soldiers forget where they are, mistake friends for enemies, and fire at shadows. The brain, denied rest, starts erasing reality itself. Yet after a single 14-hour sleep, Gardner recovered. No permanent damage, just a memory of the abyss. There is a hard biological limit. When sleep is stolen, the mind fights back, and the border between waking and madness dissolves. But what happens when the deprivation isn't chosen? The answer waits in the silence of the next cell. Coming to the top 3, the mind alone in the void becomes its own torturer. In the Mayo Clinic's 1974 isolation study, volunteers lasted just 2 days before the world started to fracture, shadows crawling, voices whispering through the blank walls. By the 48th hour, hallucinations arrived, uninvited and relentless. The pain wasn't just imagined. A project at MIT in 2021 measured brain scans, and the same circuits that process physical agony lit up during forced solitude. Loneliness, it turns out, cuts like a knife. In U.S. prisons, Human Rights Watch documents show solitary confinement can legally stretch to 15 days, but the scars last decades. Diaries from underground research stations read like horror novels. Paranoia, self-harm, a growing sense that time itself is breaking apart. Chronic PTSD, depression, and irreversible social withdrawal follow. The body craves contact as much as food or water. When that is stripped away, the mind invents monsters to fill the silence. What happens when the only escape is madness? The next spiral waits in the grip of addiction. Number 2. The rush of the casino floor is a siren song few can resist. But for some, it becomes a death spiral. Archie Karras walked in with $50 and walked out, for a moment, with $40 million. 3 years, one table after another, the chips stacked higher, the dopamine hit sharper with every win. But the same neural circuit that rewards a jackpot is the one that refuses to let go when the streak turns. Neuroimaging studies reveal the ventral striatum, the brain's reward engine, fires hardest not at the win, but at the near miss, the almost. Karras lost everything in weeks. The DSM-5 calls it a gambling disorder, and the casinos call it the action. Banned from the tables, bankrupt, and facing criminal charges, he kept chasing, convinced the next hand would turn it all around. The variable ratio schedule never lets the mind rest. One more bet is never the last. When the system is designed to keep hope alive, how many lives will it grind into dust? The answer is waiting, just behind the next spin. And finally, in first place, the darkest downfall belongs not to a single mind, but to the system that profits from every collapse. The internet's machinery is built to amplify distress. Algorithms, tuned for maximum engagement, push outrage and breakdown content 2.6 times more than anything else. Harvard's recent study confirms it. The more raw the suffering, the higher the recommendation boost. The Wall Street Journal's investigation went further. High CPM ads flood meltdown streams, turning despair into premium revenue. Watch time surges by 45% when a creator unravels on camera. Donation spikes, comment frenzies, and super chat floods all signal to the platform that pain sells. The cycle is automatic. The more a person falls apart, the more money is made. No one has to pull the strings. The system rewards collapse by design. This isn't just voyeurism, it's commerce. Maybe the scariest part isn't how these people lost their minds. Maybe it's how millions watched it happen. Across all 10 collapses, one chilling pattern emerges. In the age of constant surveillance, human suffering becomes currency. The line between warning and spectacle blurs. Our appetite for watching breakdowns reveals more about us than those who fall. In this darkness, the true danger is collective indifference.